Fears of an incoming natural disaster in China are swirling online.
Strange signs are appearing all around the world. Ancient warnings are coming alive, and believers are preparing for something bigger.
Mashiach is coming, and the third temple is about to be rebuilt.
Could these be the final clues that the world is heading toward a fate long predicted? Let's begin.
What is that?
Strange things have been happening around the world, and many believe they could be signs of something bigger. Let's start with the Nile River in Egypt. On November 13th, 2023, the Nile River in Egypt turned a shocking red. Scientists blamed algae, but the Bible spoke of this moment long ago. In the book of Exodus, the Nile turned to blood as a warning from God. And this scene looked hauntingly similar. Just a year later, on February 6th, 2025, another river in Peru shocked residents when it turned pink. It's a major source of drinking water. Officials suspected a mine spill, but the color, the timing, the silence, it all felt too strange to ignore. Not just this, but earlier this year, people in Iran experienced strange red rain that turned rivers red. Just like a prophecy coming true. Apart from these strange phenomena, something odd happened near Lake Michigan, close to Petoskey. Giant ice balls started forming and washing up on the shore. Some were round like soccer balls. Each of these events had a reason, at least on the surface. But when you look at them together, it no longer feels random. It feels like the signs are quietly stacking up, one by one. Trumpet sound. Trumpet sounds from the sky. Is something warning us? Across Canada, Finland, Ukraine, and even Kazakhstan, the sky has delivered a sound no one can explain, like trumpets, sirens, or metal scraping.
A mysterious sound heard through parts of Fort Greene, Brooklyn has been driving some people, we are told, crazy.
It's maddening, it's unsettling. It's also just this mystery because nobody seems to know what is causing this strange humming sound.
In British Columbia, a strange horn echoed over quiet streets. In Finland, a 10-minute sky roar left tourists shaken. Kiev's sky rumbled like a giant machine in 2011, sending birds flying. In Germany, people stood frozen under gray clouds, hearing trumpet-like sounds with no sign of storms or aircraft. And in Kazakhstan, a strange sky noise made people stop and stare. Different places, same question. What's making the sky scream? What turns this from strange to terrifying is its match with ancient prophecy. The Bible's book of Revelation speaks of 7 trumpets as signals of massive destruction before the world ends. Different countries, different years, but the same sound. If the sky is trying to speak, it's using a voice we still don't understand.
As you're walking around, even in the middle of the night, you hear this hum off in the background and you wonder what could that be?
Red heifers.
You know, people think that finding a real red heifer is impossible, but the truth is, there are thousands of red cows throughout the world.
For the first time in over 2,000 years, 3 pure red heifers have been raised under strict supervision. Why is this such a big deal? According to ancient texts, the appearance of a flawless red heifer marks the first step toward rebuilding the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. It's not just a religious project. It's a moment tied to prophecy and mystery. Many believe this rare event is a sign of something greater. A red heifer, born on August 28, 2018, passed early inspections and is now being watched closely by rabbinical experts. If it remains flawless, it could fulfill an ancient requirement mentioned in the Book of Numbers. Some traditions even say the 10th red heifer will be connected to the coming of the Messiah. Whether symbolic or real, this is one of the strangest and most talked about events that is linked to the end-time prophecy.
Well, we're not claiming that this is the Messiah. Or
Third Temple Mystery. The Second Temple in Jerusalem, built in 516 BCE and expanded by King Herod, was destroyed by the Romans in 70 CE, marking a tragic moment in Jewish history. Despite this, hope for a third temple remains strong. The prophet Ezekiel's vision of the third temple continues to inspire many, who see it as a sign of the end times and the Messiah's arrival. Today, religious groups are preparing by recreating temple items, training priests, and breeding red heifers for purification rituals. These efforts are viewed as important steps toward fulfilling ancient prophecy and rebuilding the sacred temple.
Some Jewish people want to build a third Jewish temple.
Earth magnetic poles.
Earth's magnetic field is the basis for all modern navigation.
Earth's magnetic field protects us from solar radiation and helps planes, ships, and GPS systems stay on track. But something strange is happening. Magnetic north is moving faster than ever, about 30 miles per year. It used to sit over Canada, but now it's racing towards Siberia. This isn't just a small shift. The magnetic field has been weakening for over 150 years, and scientists believe we could be heading toward a full magnetic pole reversal. That means north becomes south, and chaos could follow. Satellites might stop working, planes could lose navigation, and communication systems could crash. In 1989, a solar storm caused a blackout in Quebec. Imagine a stronger storm during a pole shift. It could take months to recover. This isn't just theory. In the past 20 million years, the poles have reversed every 300,000 years. And we're long overdue. We can't stop it, but we can prepare. If we ignore it, the next major blackout might not be easy to fix.
Are just pointing toward one pole at a time.
Africa's land split. Africa might be on the edge of a huge change. Scientists say the continent is slowly splitting into two, creating a new ocean between them. This is linked to the East African Rift, a massive crack stretching through countries like Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. The rift has been forming for over 22 million years, caused by the Earth's tectonic plates moving apart. In 2018, a big crack in Kenya caught attention, and a 56-kilometer-long crack appeared in Ethiopia back in 2005. Signs of this slow but steady split. If this continues, landlocked countries like Uganda and Zambia could one day have coastlines. Earth is constantly shifting beneath us, splitting apart and showing out its secrets. Is this just nature, or it's truly a haunting reminder of something big? Fish washing up. Thousands of lifeless fish blanketed the shores of New Jersey, stretching for miles like scattered white foam. The smell was unbearable, and not a single species besides the menhaden was affected. Officials suspect low oxygen caused by rising temperatures. But this wasn't an isolated event. In Tasmania, over 150 false killer whales, a dolphin species, were found stranded, many still gasping for life on a windswept beach. Back in California, Gulf grunion fish surged onto land in a frenzy to spawn, only to die in piles under the sun. From falling surf clams to repeated mass beachings, it's not just biology anymore, it feels like prophecy unfolding. Islamic texts and biblical prophecies both mention animals reacting before great changes. When fish abandon the sea in waves and dolphins lie dying on sandbanks, maybe the warning signs aren't just natural, maybe they're divine. Locust swarm.
You'll see these bare patches in the ground where they're sitting.
In Russia, locals spotted a thick swarm of locusts that darkened the daylight. The insects moved like a living storm, and even with efforts to stop them, nothing worked. But this was no one-time incident. In Madagascar, a locust plague has pushed the country to request over $41 million in aid.
$41 million to eliminate a severe plague of locusts in Madagascar.
South Africa is facing its worst outbreak in decades, following the end of a brutal 7-year drought, which has triggered a wave of egg hatching and crop destruction. Farmers are now watching their lands turn to dust. Locusts aren't just pests, they're warnings. Their plagues have been written about for centuries, from the Bible to history books. And now they're back again, rising with the heat and spreading with the drought. If that doesn't feel like the start of something bigger, it should. Flowing desert. Water flowing through Saudi Arabia's empty quarter desert has surprised many. This vast region is known as one of the hottest and driest places on Earth. For the first time in years, fresh water was seen moving across the sand dunes, forming small rivers where no water was expected. This unusual event caught attention worldwide and reminded some of an ancient prophecy from the book of Isaiah. Written over 2,700 years ago, it spoke of deserts turning into pools of water, a sign some believe relates to the last days. While scientists say rare conditions cause the water flow, others see a deeper meaning. At the same time, deserts across the globe hold another strange secret: rivers of crude oil naturally flowing beneath the sand. These unexpected eruptions of oil reserves could be a sign that we are approaching the end times, as some religious texts suggest that the earth will begin to unveil its hidden treasures when the final days draw near. Unusual meteorological phenomenon.
Oh, look! Meteor!
In Western Australia, early morning calm was ripped apart by a massive fireball streaking across the sky. It wasn't just there. Central Arkansas reported glowing fireballs too, bright enough to light up neighborhoods. But the real shock came from the Philippines, where Luzon Island was hit by what many are calling a possible asteroid strike. Surveillance cameras, dash cams, and even doorbells caught these glowing objects in stunning detail. Experts say it's a rare meteor event, but when fire starts falling from different skies, so close together, rare starts to sound like a cover word for something bigger. Multiple suns.
What is this? Oh my god.
China has seen some of the strangest sky events in recent years, but this one might top them all. 4 suns lined up in the sky. One glowed brighter than the rest, and the heat around them felt very real. Locals were divided. Some believed this to be reflections in the sky, while others feared it was a warning of the world ending. Not long after, another clip surfaced. This time, 2 suns appeared. One strong, the other faint, floating above it. It didn't feel like a camera trick, but the wildest was in Chengdu. One morning, 7 suns appeared all at once. People ran outside, unsure if the world was ending or something bigger was happening. Scientists suggested it could be the sundog phenomenon, caused by ice crystals bending sunlight. Still, it left many uneasy. In many cultures and religions, the appearance of multiple suns is often seen as a sign of great change, or a warning that something isn't right. Are we just seeing nature or warnings written across our skies?
What is happening? Wait, why are there 2 suns?
Change in animal behavior.
Of an incoming natural disaster in China are swirling online.
In recent years, people have observed unusual changes in animal behavior, patterns that some believe could be early warnings of something much greater, possibly even signs of the end times. It began with spiders falling from the sky in Brazil, hundreds of them floating through the air, terrifying anyone who looked up. Experts claimed it was a known behavior called ballooning, but to most people, it didn't feel normal. Then, in Mexico, a flock of yellow-headed blackbirds suddenly dropped lifeless from the sky, caught on security cameras.
So this is a flock of yellow-headed blackbirds crashing to the ground by the hundreds.
The way they fell all at once raised more questions than answers. In Japan, birds flooded a neighborhood in Kyoto, sitting on rooftops, roads, and windowsills. Some locals thought they were warning of an upcoming disaster. Over in China, rivers and lakes started boiling with fish jumping high into the air in strange patterns. Officials blamed it on spawning, but right after, an earthquake hit nearby Vietnam. These strange patterns of animals have been spotted all over the world. We've always believed animals can sense danger before humans do. So if they're this alarmed, maybe it's time we pay attention too. Blooming deserts. A desert painted in flowers and sacred mountains turning green. Nature is rewriting its own rules. After a rare and powerful rainfall, Chile's Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, turned into vibrant purple and yellow blooms. Scientists call it Desierto Florido, a phenomenon that only happens every few years when long-sleeping seeds suddenly come to life. Thousands of miles away, the rocky slopes around Saudi Arabia, normally dry and colorless, turned lush and green following heavy downpours. For a region that rarely sees rain, this sudden greenery shocked the world. Many are now connecting these rare events to a prophetic saying from centuries ago, which mentions that the end times won't arrive until the land of Arabia becomes meadows and rivers again. Whether you call it a miracle or a warning, one thing's clear. Places once thought of as lifeless are now changing before our eyes, just as it was said long ago. Solar eclipse. On April 8th, 2024, the skies over North Texas turned completely dark during a rare total solar eclipse. Crowds gathered to witness the moment when the moon perfectly covered the sun. People screamed in excitement. But for a few minutes, it felt like daylight had vanished forever. Even animals at the Dallas Zoo behaved strangely, as if confused by the sudden nightfall. Events like this have happened before, but they often remind people of ancient prophecies. One verse in the Bible speaks of a time when the sun will be darkened, as a sign before the final days. Whether this eclipse was just nature's show or something more, it definitely left many wondering about what could be coming next. Terrifying moon signs. In March 2025, people across South Florida looked up and saw a rare sight, a deep red moon glowing in the night sky. It wasn't just a lunar eclipse, it was the first total one in 3 years, turning the moon a copper red color that sent a wave of unease through many who watched. In ancient texts, this isn't just a natural event, it's a known signal. The Bible mentions the moon turning to red before the coming of the great and terrible day. When science aligns with this prophecy precisely, it feels less like a coincidence and more like a countdown. Sudden wildfires. A terrifying scene unfolded near Jerusalem when a fast-spreading wildfire forced thousands to run for their lives. The blaze, pushed by extreme heat and strong winds, reached Route 1.
The embers that are blown by the wind can ignite the neighboring trees. They can also be spread further downwind.
The main highway between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, trapping cars and covering the capital in thick smoke. Some people even abandoned their vehicles and ran. The Prime Minister declared it a national emergency and confirmed that help from Italy and Croatia is on the way. Over 120 rescue teams and the army are already on the ground. At the same time, a huge sandstorm swept through southern Israel, lowering visibility to nearly zero. For many, it was just a wildfire, but believers were sure it was a warning, or maybe a sign to end times. What is your take on this one? Fish rain. In a strange event in India, fish started falling from the sky, covering the streets in a slippery, flopping mess. Shocked locals recorded videos showing hundreds of live fish scattered across the road. Similar scenes were captured in Iran, where fish rained down during a sudden storm, leaving people speechless. These strange skyfalls keep popping up across the globe, and every time, they look more unnatural than the last. Rain is supposed to clean the earth, but when it brings down living creatures, it feels like something isn't right up there. Water bodies mysteries. Entire rivers drying up, Ghost lakes suddenly coming back to life. Strange weather flooding the lands once thought lost. In California's Central Valley, Tulare Lake, once the largest freshwater lake west of the Mississippi, disappeared from maps for decades. The land was taken for cotton, dairy, and pistachio farms. Rivers that once fed the lake were redirected, and the basin was drained dry. But in 2023, something unexpected happened. After record snowfall and over 30 strong storms hit California, Tulare Lake returned, flooding farmlands, homes, and roads. Now, the 24-mile-wide lake has caused more than $140 million in farm damage. But Tulare isn't alone. All across the globe, rivers like the Euphrates, the Tigris, and the Colorado are vanishing. Droughts have crippled water systems. Ancient riverbeds are drying up. Meanwhile, new floods are creating lakes where crops once grew. Experts say this is water mismanagement. But for many, this feels like something more. Biblical texts warned of rivers drying and lakes reappearing before the final days. Tulare Lake, once dead, now reborn, is a haunting reminder of those words. Appearance of new species.
Have photographed one species that glows in the dark.
Explorers near the Mariana Trench captured rare footage of a strange sea creature called the ghost shark. While aboard NOAA's Okeanos Explorer, scientists filmed deep-sea wildlife and active underwater volcanoes, including a vent reaching 339 degrees Celsius. The mission, focused on unknown areas around the trench, will continue through July. But that's not the only bizarre discovery. Off the coast of New Zealand, researchers found sharks that glow in the dark. These sharks live more than 200 meters deep and use their glowing bellies to hide from predators. One species even measured up to 1.8 meters long, making it the largest glowing vertebrate ever recorded. Even stranger, a bird once declared extinct has returned. The Pava alablanca, first discovered in 1877, disappeared for nearly a century. It was found again in Peru in 1977. Fewer than 250 remain today, but it proves that nature still holds surprises. From glowing sharks to ghostly fish and birds back from extinction, our oceans are revealing life forms we once thought were long gone or never existed at all. Sinkhole openings. In Louisiana, a massive underwater sinkhole swallowed an entire grove of trees. Emergency crews caught the slow but unstoppable collapse on camera as the trees disappeared beneath swirling waters. Experts say this sinkhole formed when a hidden underground salt dome gave way, leaving a 25-acre hole that keeps growing. Nearby residents were forced to evacuate for safety. Not far away, near Sacramento, an 8-foot-wide sinkhole opened next to a busy road.
Right near Sacramento State, where an 8-foot-deep sinkhole opened up earlier today. You can see these pictures.
Officials closed streets and began digging deep to find the cause, suspecting a collapsed culvert sucking away dirt beneath the surface. The work is slow and complicated by strong river currents. Meanwhile, in Queensland, Australia, a retired couple found a giant sinkhole filled with water right in their backyard. The hole kept expanding as neighbors watched, shocked. It turns out old mining shafts under their property caused the ground to collapse years later, turning their garden into an unexpected swimming pool. These sudden sinkholes reveal how fragile the ground beneath us can be, swallowing everything in its path and reminding us how little we truly control nature. Strange lighting in sky.
From News 4 viewers seeing lights streaming across the sky. It almost looks extraterrestrial.
Over Ontario, Canada, glowing red and green orbs appeared in the cloudy night sky. They moved around the same time in Northern California, strange smoky lights blazed across the sky in perfect formation. Some described it as a quiet invasion, too smooth to be random, too fast to be explained. Officials tried linking it to satellite launches, but the lights didn't behave like machines. They looked alive. One moment they hovered, the next they vanished. Witnesses said it felt like something was watching or preparing. Maybe these lights weren't from Earth. Maybe they were signals from a higher power or visitors beyond our understanding. If so, this could be more than just a light show. This could be the beginning of the end of human control on this planet. Dead Sea Mystery. Just a short drive from Jerusalem, something strange is happening at the lowest place on Earth. The Dead Sea, once known for being too salty for life, is changing. Sinkholes have opened up around its shores, and in some of them, pools of fresh water have formed. These pools weren't here before. Now, small fish are swimming inside them. What's more shocking is that this matches an old prophecy. Thousands of years ago, the prophet Ezekiel described a vision where water would flow into the Dead Sea and turn it fresh. He said fish would fill the waters and fishermen would cast their nets nearby. Now, with fish already living in these sinkholes, it's starting to feel like Ezekiel's vision is coming true. And if this part has begun, the next part may be closer than we think. Melting polar ice cap.
God! Look at this run! Oh!
Recent reports have confirmed that Antarctica's polar cap is melting at a faster rate than before. Scientists have recorded a massive loss of ice, about 150 billion metric tons every year between 2002 and 2023. In December 2024, the surface melt reached record levels, spreading across more than 3% of the ice sheet. The West Antarctic ice sheet, especially glaciers like Thwaites and Pine Island, is in serious trouble. Experts believe that even if we cut down carbon emissions, the melting may not stop. This could cause sea levels to rise by over 1.8 meters in the future. If this continues, cities near coastlines might face extreme flooding. Antarctica isn't just freezing, it's quietly warning us about what's coming. World issues. From Africa to Asia, famine continues to haunt our world. Some of the worst cases in history didn't come from the sky, but from governments and war. In 1921, Russia, the Bolsheviks let peasants starve to force their communist agenda. Stalin did it again in 1932. Ukraine. Millions died. China's Great Leap Forward led to another man-made famine, with policies so bad they caused crops to fail across entire provinces. And in 1943, while India starved, British ships sailed away with tons of Indian rice during World War II. In the US, poor farming worsened the Dust Bowl in the 1930s. Even today, famine strikes places like Sudan, Yemen, and Ethiopia. Not just from drought, but from ongoing conflicts and poor leadership. What's terrifying is how famine seems to repeat itself, especially where leaders use hunger as a weapon. Some ancient prophecies warned of a time when many shall hunger, yet few shall be fed. Looking at today's rising conflicts and food shortages, maybe that time is already here, and maybe the worst is still ahead. Singing sand dunes. There's a place where the sand makes music. In certain deserts around the world, like in Morocco, Chile, and China, huge sand dunes create a strange, loud humming sound. Travelers say it sounds like an airplane flying low, or a bass note from a faraway drum. But there are no machines, no instruments, just sand. Scientists found that this happens when dry sand grains slide down a dune at the right speed. The grains rub together and make the sound echo through the desert. But here's the strange part. Only some dunes can do it. Others stay completely silent. It feels like the desert itself chooses when to sing and when to keep its secrets buried. Conflicts around the world. Across the world, tensions are rising in ways that feel strangely connected. In Syria, what started as protests turned into a war that dragged in powerful nations. The country split apart, and peace remained distant. The Israel-Palestine conflict continues too. this time even deadlier. New clashes in Gaza are now affecting global politics, trade, and even sea routes. According to global data, nearly 50 countries are now experiencing active conflict or serious unrest. That's 1 in every 6 people living near violence. In places like Sudan, Myanmar, and parts of Africa, battles over land, power, and identity are reshaping borders quietly, without much notice. Some conflicts are loud, others are quiet, like Armenia and Azerbaijan, where one shift in attention caused an entire region to change overnight. And it's not just war, it's trade routes, political control, and global influence. So, is this just coincidence, or a pattern we were warned about long ago? One prophecy, many battlefields, and perhaps the final chapters are being written in real time. Ark of Covenant. One of the strangest claims about the Ark of the Covenant comes from an excavation led by Ron Wyatt, just 12 miles west of Jerusalem. He claimed the Ark was buried beneath what he believed to be the crucifixion site of Jesus Christ. A crack in the rock above supposedly allowed blood to drip onto the Ark's mercy seat. The blood sample he took was later tested and revealed only 24 chromosomes, with no biological father, suggesting a virgin birth. But there's another theory. Far from Jerusalem. Author Graham Hancock traced the Ark's journey to Axum, Ethiopia. Inside a guarded chapel, hidden from public view, rests another claimed Ark. Only one monk is allowed to see it, and oddly, every monk assigned to guard it goes blind and dies within a few years. Locals say the Ark burns like fire. Some believe it was smuggled out of Jerusalem during King Manasseh's reign, passed through Egypt, and ended up in Ethiopia. Since then, the Ethiopians have protected it fiercely, whether in a cave or a chapel. One thing is certain, the Ark's mystery still echoes through time. Discovery of Jesus relics. A tiny clay seal found in Jerusalem may have unlocked one of the Bible's biggest secrets. Archaeologists uncovered this small artifact near the Temple Mount. At first, it looked like just another old seal, but the writing on it shocked everyone. It had the name Isaiah and a word that seemed to be prophet. This led experts to believe it might have belonged to the prophet Isaiah himself, a major figure from the Bible who lived nearly 2,700 years ago. The seal was found just a few feet away from another that had the name of King Hezekiah, a known friend of Isaiah. Some letters were damaged, so we can't be 100% sure. But the location, time, and writing are just too close to be a random match. If true, this could be the most powerful clay seal ever discovered. Genetic manipulation.
Injected human cells into the embryo of a monkey.
Scientists at the Salk Institute in the US made headlines after creating pig embryos containing human cells. These weren't just ideas. They actually injected human stem cells into pig embryos, hoping to grow human organs like pancreases inside pigs. In another shocking case, researchers created human monkey embryos that survived up to 20 days in a lab. Supporters claim it's for solving organ shortages, but others say this is crossing a dangerous line. Mixing species, even in labs, could cause problems we don't fully understand. And the fact that many of these projects rely on private funding, not public oversight, makes it even more unsettling. Strange cloud formation. Strange cloud shapes are being spotted throughout the world, and they don't look random. Locals captured a cloud that formed the perfect side profile of a human face. Then in 2011, people in China captured something even more terrifying, a full city floating in the clouds. Buildings, towers, streets, like a ghost city hovering in silence. Experts called it a Fata Morgana, a rare mirage, but many weren't convinced. And in 2015, Costa Rica's sky showed a quill-shaped iridescent cloud. Locals called it a warning. These weren't ordinary skies. These were messages. From a face in the clouds to a city in the air, maybe the heavens weren't showing beauty. Perhaps they were hinting that something chaotic is about to unfold. Thank you very much for watching the video. do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.